We now come to the last part of this election series. We start with the results of the 2004 Lok Sabha elections, which were the first to be conducted entirely through EVMs. And these elections gave results which were contrary to the expectations of most political commentators, editorial writers, psephologists, proponents of the India Shining campaign, and the IB reports. All of these had probably prompted Vajpayee ji to call for an early election. And these were held in 4 phases between 20th April and 10th May to elect the 543 members of the 14th Lok Sabha. The results shocked the BJP and surprised the Congress-led UPA, because while the Congress got only 7 more seats than the BJP, because of alliances and coalition partners, the UPA tally touched 225. And they also received external support from Bahujan Samaj Party, Samajwadi Party, Kerala Congress, and the Left Front. The eminent political scientist Philip Oldenburg said that the Congress did not win due to a vote swing or to any anti-incumbency vote or the revolt of the rural poor who were left out of the India Shining. The Congress won because it made good alliances in several states. Likewise, scholar Mahesh Rangarajan said that the victory goes to the seat-sharing arrangements with alliance partners, while psephologist Yogendra Yadav suggested that it was a victory by default. There's another anecdotal recall that many pensioners and senior citizens were miffed by the sharp decline in interest rates on their deposits in post offices and banks, and this may have affected the support base of the BJP and the RSS. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi was the leader of the Congress, but there was a lot of internal opposition to her becoming the Prime Minister, and therefore she opted to appoint Manmohan Singh as the head of the UPA government in 2004. But she headed the National Advisory Council, an extra constitutional body that exercised influence greater than the government, greater than the cabinet, greater even than the Planning Commission. And it began to exercise some kind of an oversight, some kind of policy prescriptions on how the government must be run. And it became a power center where many secretaries and joint secretaries, including myself, are asked to make presentations on various sectoral programs of the government. This NAC caused a fair amount of resentment. Another fallout of this election was the ample display of the coalition dharma, a term coined by Vajpayee, or perhaps coalition adharma, because what it meant was that the Prime Minister had to concede many unreasonable demands from alliance partners. For example, when Dinesh Trivedi presented his railway budget, which was not to the liking of his party supremo Mamata Banerjee, she said that he must be sacked immediately. And even though the Prime Minister did not want to do it, he had to sack Dinesh Trivedi for a railway budget which had won a lot of accolades for him. Likewise, when DMK's A. Raja had been accused in the 2G scandal, he had to appeal to the DMK leader, Karunanidhi, to please give him the permission to dismiss Raja or to ask Raja to resign. The Manmohan Singh could not have done it himself. This is what coalition dharma or coalition adharma meant, because the Prime Minister had no real authority. And that was what was affecting the ability of the government to address several issues. But thanks to the strong steps that Mr. Manmohan Singh took, especially vis-a-vis the Indo-US nuclear agreement, The UPA and the Congress did even better in the 2019 elections. They won 206 seats, 90 more than the BJP, which got 116. But the important aspect about 2009 is that it marked the eclipse of L.K. Advani from the politics of BJP. And it became very clear that the BJP cannot come to power under his leadership. And therefore, this led to the ascent of Narendra Modi, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, as the Prime Minister's face, as the mascot of the BJP. Another important, slightly less important, but quite significant aspect of this election was the virtual rout of the left front as a strong political entity in the country. The CPM went down from 43 to 16 seats, the CPI from 10 to 6, and the Forward Bloc and the RSP got 1 seat each, which was one less than what they had earlier. The overall strength of the left front now comes down from 59 to 26, and their role in national polity becomes marginal. Their influence from Tripura is gone, and now it's only limited to the state politics of Kerala and West Bengal. Another highlight of this election was the public spat between the Chief Election Commissioner N. Gopalaswamy and Election Commissioner Naveen Chawla. Gopalaswamy went to the extent of asking the president to dismiss Chawla for his allegedly partisan role, but the president did not accept Gopalaswamy's request. And therefore, when Gopalaswamy's term ended on 20th April 2009, Chawla took over as the CEC, and this was perhaps the only election which was overseen by 2 CECs. In 2010, Chawla was succeeded by S.Y. Qureshi, who wrote a very well-received commentary on Indian elections called An Undocumented Wonder, The Making of the Great Indian Election. Qureshi then became an active public intellectual, wrote on several issues, including the demographic transitions among Muslims. But most importantly, he became an outspoken critic of the electoral bond scheme, which again has been struck down by the 5-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court on 50th February this year. The court said that this is a violation of Article 19(1)(a), and it also struck down the amendments to the Income Tax Act 1961 and the RPA of 1951, which had enabled anonymous political contributions. And we are aware that the Supreme Court has asked the State Bank of India to furnish them the list of the donors. Now, one aspect is that although India has a parliamentary form of democracy, our elections have become presidential. Mrs. Gandhi had fought a presidential election. And then again in 2014 and 2019, the voters are casting their ballot not in favor of the local MP, but in the name of Narendra Modi. In 2014, the BJP had won 282 seats on its own, and the NDA's tally stood at 336. In 2019, the BJP got 303 on its own, and with the alliance partners winning another 50, the NDA's total went up to 353. Meanwhile, the Congress also improved its number of MPs. It went up from 44 to 52 in 2019, but still less than 10%, and therefore it does not have the right to call itself an official opposition party, because you need to have 10% of the seats, which would be 55 seats in the Lok Sabha, to get the status of an official opposition party. In 2024, Mr. Modi is again the lodestar of the BJP campaign for the 3rd successive running term, and it hopes and aspires to achieve 404 seats, and sort of match the Congress's best performance under Rajiv Gandhi in 1984. There's a buzz around a possible alliance between the BJP and the Biju Janata Dal in Orissa. There's a clear tie-up with Tripura's Tripura Motha, and one hears that there is a talk of an alliance with the Akali Dal as well in Punjab. Before we close the series, it's also important to reflect on the changes with regard to the appointment of election commissioners, especially in the context of Arun Goyal's resignation 3 days ago. In December 2023, the Parliament passed the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners' appointment, condition of service, and terms of office act, which replaced the 1991 Election Commission Act. Now, what is significant about this act is that it removes the CJI, the Chief Justice of India, from the three-member committee for recommending these appointments to the President. The third member is now the Cabinet Minister, which is the Law Minister. Because earlier in 2023, based on the recommendations of the 225th Law Commission, the Supreme Court under Article 142 had directed the formation of a committee to appoint CEC and ECs. And in this, the Supreme Court had opined that this committee should comprise the PM, the Chief Justice of India, and the leader of the opposition or of the largest opposition party in the Lok Sabha. And now the two new vacancies that will be filled in because of the resignation of Arun Goyal. He stated personal reasons, but in all probability, it would have been irreconcilable differences with the CEC. These two vacancies will be filled up as per the provisions of the new act. This is the background to the elections. And now we can look forward to a very interesting electoral contest, the biggest electoral contest in the history of the world. Thank you.